Hi everyone. Now, the French market has been a pretty profitable place, try saying that when you're drunk, for Celtic to shop over the last few years. We have had gems like Odsonne Edouard, to a lesser extent Christopher Jullien, and to an even lesser extent Timothy Weah coming from Ligue 1. We've also signed French players from other places. Moussa Dembele is the obvious one, although Olivier Ntcham as well. It has been a pretty good place for Celtic to shop. It offers good value for money, but it may be about to get even better, and that's what we're going to chat about on today's video. Now, I touched on this a little bit on yesterday's video, which was a bit of a transfer roundup. Feel free to check that out. It's still pretty relevant, I think, and it will keep you up to speed with what's happening at Celtic. But I spoke about our interest in the Rennes fullback, Brandon Soppy. Now, things have got a little bit complicated with regards to that, but we'll touch on that at the end of the video. Before that, I just want to chat a little bit about why the French market offers such good value to us. I think there's a few reasons for it. French players are quite quick to adapt in general to their surroundings. I think Ligue 1 supplies more players to every other league in Europe than any other country. Now, I've probably worded that in a horrendous way. I think the official tagline of Ligue 1 is the League of Talents, which basically says that they create players, they don't necessarily hold on to them, but that they create the players. Now, Celtic have benefited from this over the last few years. It's not a huge culture change coming from France to Scotland. I don't think they're drastically different countries. Of course, they speak different languages, but I think most French people nowadays have a really good grasp of English. The style of football is relatively similar, and the best aspect from a Celtic point of view is the value for money in comparison to signing players from down south. I don't think there's a huge gulf in standard or quality between the French players in Ligue 1 and the English players in the English Premier League, but you will pay a lot more for English players playing in the English Premier League. That's just the way things are, but that's why Celtic are best to turn to France. Now, I hinted that things may get even better for Celtic and players may be available for an even more discounted price from a Celtic point of view. That's because basically every team in French football, especially the top tier, bar PSG, are in a pretty perilous financial situation at the moment. Now, this all goes down to a 4-year TV deal that collapsed around about a year ago, around about the time of the pandemic starting. Now, this TV deal was worth around about £600 million per season. So that is a lot of money that French clubs are missing out on. As a result, they have had to make up for the shortfall by selling some of their best players. Effectively, every player has his price, probably other than the likes of Mbappe and Neymar at PSG. Every player in that league has his price. We've seen it already this summer. Boubakary Samari left champions Lille for Leicester for just 17 million, a snip nowadays. We also had Romain Perraud, a player we were linked with not so long ago, who left Brest for Southampton for just 11 million, and he was seen as one of the best fullbacks in Ligue 1. There's numerous other talents. Our very own, well, not anymore, Moussa Dembele could well leave Lyon, and if he does, it's unlikely to be for the 50-60 million pounds that was spoken about 18 months ago. It's likely to be probably only a slight profit on what they paid us for him. Now, these fees of 11 million and 17 million are still probably, almost certainly, above what Celtic can pay. But that doesn't mean that if we go down a tier or two, we can't find players that Celtic could sign. We've already heard of one of them in yesterday's video. His name is Brandon Soppy. He plays for Rennes. And wouldn't you just know, we've been linked with another Rennes fullback by the name of Soppy and Boy. So what do we know about both Soppy and Boy? Well, American journalist Zach Lowy, who specialises in French football and who actually we had on the channel about a year ago, posted a really interesting thread on Twitter, giving a bit of an insight into mainly Boy, I think, but a bit on Soppy as well. Now, he says that both players are right backs with 1 year left on their contracts at Rennes. Both came through the Rennes Academy, both are French youth internationals, and both, would you believe it, are behind a guy called Hamari Traore in the pecking order for Rennes. Now, Rennes are also set to bring back Laurence Assignon, who spent last season on loan at Bastia. He's likely to become their second choice right back, so it seems that both Soppy and Boy could be sold this summer. Now, Boy started Rennes' opening league and game of last season, but it didn't go well for him. He was sent off for a pretty horrendous high foot. Have a look at that. He subsequently was loaned out to Dijon for that season. Now, Dijon were always set to be relegated. I think they ended up finishing 20 points behind the staying up places. I've worded that horrendously, but they were always set to be relegated all season long. It was a tough ask for them to stay up from the minute Boy signed for them. He obviously wasn't able to help them do that, but he did make a pretty good impression and was actually voted their best prospect of the season by Dijon supporters. Zach says that he's very raw, but that he reckons he could be another French success story at Celtic. Soppy, meanwhile, was kept at Rennes last season. He made 10 appearances in the league in total. He is seen as a little bit of a better talent than Boy and may go to a higher level. We're talking £1 million, I think, reports, as a move for Boy, and £5 million for Soppy. There's been a bit of to and fro going about with various sources. Some saying that we're in for both players. Find that a little bit hard to believe. Others saying that it's Boy and not Soppy, that maybe someone got their wires crossed somewhere or something was lost in translation. It seems like it's Boy we may be after, and to be honest, at £1 million there doesn't seem to be a great amount of risk attached to that deal. And if he seems to be quite highly rated and was voted one of the best players, certainly the best young player for a League and team last season, and as a French youth international, seems like we're getting a decent deal there. I definitely think Celtic can look to exploit the French market more this summer for all the reasons I've given in this video so far. This is a league and this is a group of teams that are desperate for money at the moment. Now, you may say that's unfair and that, you know, it's not their fault their TV deal has collapsed. Celtic have been getting taken advantage of for years because we have a crap TV deal. I think it's about time that we get a bit of benefit of this. You know, I spoke about Burger Mellon with Zach Lowy last year. He was the Rosenborg and Norway fullback who ended up in France. He's still playing there at the moment for Nîmes. Is that not the kind of player we could look to get in for, I don't know, 4 or 5 million? He would maybe have cost 8 or 9 million previously. Those are the kind of deals I would love to see Celtic doing, and I wouldn't be surprised to see more of that happening this summer. I think the club is clearly aware of what's happening in France, and if they look to exploit it for Celtic's gain, then I'm absolutely fine with that. Overall, it seems like Celtic are stepping things up a little bit. We've had reports from Fabrizio Romano talking about Celtic again. He's a bit obsessed, that guy, at the moment. And also our good friend Anil Avdic, who we had on last week. They both reckon that the deal for Karel Starfelt is done, while Israeli sources reckon that Lil Abada, the winger that we spoke about yesterday, is going to be coming into Celtic pretty imminently too. Much more like it's Celtic. So let's hope this is the start of getting players in and actually finally spending some money and getting the rebuild started. If you've got any ideas about any French talent that we could look to sign this summer or in subsequent years, then let me know in the comments below. I may do some sort of a video in the future, 7 league and talent Celtic should sign, something like that. Remember to sub to the channel. We are aiming to get to 16,000 subs by the end of the week. Now that is just, I think, 4 days away, so you can help us out by subbing to the channel. Go on, you know you want to.